There was a time when creating content meant standing out. Today, it means trying not to disappear. Every platform is saturated with videos, ideas, opinions, and endless streams of content competing for the same limited attention. Millions of creators upload daily, each one hoping to break through the noise and be seen, but most of them never do. Their content fades almost instantly, lost in an algorithm that rewards only what captures attention quickly and holds it consistently. This creates a frustrating reality. Effort alone is no longer enough. You can spend hours creating something meaningful, only for it to go unnoticed. And that leads to an important question. If everyone is creating content, why are so few actually growing? The answer isn't random. It's not luck. And it's not just about the algorithm. The difference lies in the method behind the content. Because content that works is not created by accident. It is built with intention. The invisible problem. At first glance, the process of creating content seems simple. You pick a topic, record a video, upload it, and wait for results. This is the approach most creators follow. And in the beginning, it feels productive. You're posting regularly, experimenting, and trying to stay consistent. But over time, something becomes clear. The results don't match the effort. Views remain low. Engagement stays limited. Growth either slows down or never really begins. What's happening here is not a lack of hard work. It's a lack of structure. Content is being created without a system, without a clear direction, and without an understanding of what actually captures attention. It becomes random and inconsistent. One video might perform slightly better, but there's no pattern to follow, no process to repeat. And when there is no system, there is no way to improve. Only repetition without progress. This is where most creators get stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they lack a method. Method 1. The power of the idea. Every piece of content that performs well has one thing in common, something that is often overlooked. It starts with a strong idea. Not the visuals, not the editing, but the concept itself. In a world where people decide within seconds what to watch, the idea determines whether the content gets a chance at all. A weak idea, no matter how well executed, gets ignored. A strong idea, even with simple production, can capture attention instantly. This is why successful creators focus heavily on idea development. They spend time shaping concepts that are clear, compelling, and immediately understandable. They think about what will make someone stop scrolling, what will make someone curious enough to click, what will make someone feel like watching this content is worth their time. This process is not random. It is deliberate. It involves understanding the audience, identifying what matters to them, and presenting it in a way that feels both relevant and engaging. Because at the end of the day, content does not compete on quality alone. It competes on attention. Method number 2. The first few seconds. Once the idea captures attention, the next challenge begins. Keeping that attention. And this is where the opening moments of a video become critical. The first few seconds determine whether a viewer stays or leaves. In today's fast-moving digital environment, there is no patience for slow beginnings. The viewer is constantly deciding, often subconsciously, whether to continue watching or move on. If the opening feels delayed or unclear, the decision is immediate. They leave. This is why the most effective content begins with impact. A strong statement, a question, or a moment that creates instant curiosity. Something that makes the viewer pause and think. Something that signals that what follows will be worth their time. There is no need for long introductions or unnecessary context. Those elements can come later. What matters in the beginning is clarity and engagement. Because if the first few seconds fail, the rest of the content is never experienced. Method number 3. The weight of value. As the video continues, attention is no longer captured by curiosity alone. It must be sustained through value. This is where many creators lose their audience without realizing it. The content may start strong, but it begins to slow down, repeat itself, or lose focus. And as soon as the viewer feels that their time is not being used effectively, they leave. Content that works maintains a consistent level of value throughout. Every part of it serves a purpose. It provides information, builds understanding, or keeps the viewer engaged in some way. There is no filler, no unnecessary repetition, and no wasted time. This does not mean the content is rushed. It means the content is efficient, clear in its delivery, and intentional in its pacing. The viewer always feels like they are gaining something by continuing to watch, and that feeling is what keeps them engaged until the end. Method 4. The structure of attention. Even when content is valuable, it still needs direction. Without structure, information becomes scattered, and the viewer struggles to follow along. This is where storytelling plays a critical role, not as entertainment, but as a framework for organizing information. The most effective content follows a natural progression. It captures attention, introduces a problem, builds context, and delivers a resolution. This structure mirrors how people naturally process information. It creates a sense of movement and progression. The viewer understands where they are in the content and what they can expect next. Without this structure, content can feel disconnected, jumping from one idea to another without a clear path. And when that happens, attention begins to drop. But when content flows logically, it becomes easier to follow, more engaging, and ultimately more effective. Method number 5. Different platforms, different rules. Content does not exist in isolation. It exists within platforms, each with its own behavior, expectations, and patterns of consumption. What works on one platform may not work on another. Yet many creators treat all platforms the same, creating a single piece of content and distributing it everywhere without adjustment. This approach often limits performance. Each platform has a unique rhythm. Some prioritize speed and short-form engagement, while others allow for deeper, longer content. Some rely heavily on visuals, while others focus more on information and storytelling. Ignoring these differences creates a mismatch between the content and the audience. But when content is adapted to fit the platform, it feels more natural and performs better. This does not require creating entirely new content each time. It requires understanding the environment and adjusting the presentation accordingly. Method 6. Progress over repetition. Consistency is often emphasized as the key to growth, and while it is important, it is often misunderstood. Posting frequently without improvement does not lead to meaningful results. It simply repeats the same level of content again and again. True growth comes from intentional consistency. This means that each piece of content builds on the previous one. There is a focus on improvement, whether in the idea, the delivery, the pacing, or the structure. Small changes, made consistently over time, lead to significant progress. The creators who succeed are not just active, they are evolving. They learn from what works and what doesn't, and they apply those lessons moving forward. This creates a cycle of continuous improvement, where each new piece of content becomes stronger than the last. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.